You're listening to Parasearch Radio, news, views and reviews from the world of the paranormal from across the UK and beyond. Find us on Facebook, Twitter and the World Wide Web. Parasearch UK Radio. Parasearch Radio, broadcasting to the UK and beyond.
The views and opinions expressed by presenters and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Parasearch Radio or its affiliates and sponsors. Listener discretion is advised. You're listening to The Spectral Zone with host Caz Rooney.
Good evening everyone and welcome to the Spectral Zone on Parasearch Radio UK. As always, I'm your host for the evening, I'm Caz Rooney, and tonight I'm being joined by Sean Cadman. Hello Sean.
Good evening Caz, how are you?
I'm great, thank you. How are you?
Not too bad at all, thank you.
Now, tonight we're going to be talking, this is a two-part special, but we're going to be talking about a subject we both like, I believe.
Yes, definitely.
God's walk in the paranormal. So what does that conjure into your mind? What do you think of?
Oh, to me, it just conjures up rock is part of the paranormal, almost.
Yeah.
It sort of goes hand in hand.
I actually have to agree with you. I think they do go hand in hand. But we're going to look at some of the little stories.
Yeah.
Some little stories we found. Now, I want to ask you a question, Sean. Led Zeppelin. Do you believe they were cursed?
In a way, yes. I was brought up listening to Led Zeppelin. My dad used to play them a lot. Never paid much attention back then, but when you actually look at a lot of the symbolism that they used and what happened to them over the years, then it starts to make a bit of sense.
I mean, I was reading this today and it's quite a lot to go through. But people, right, I'll start from the beginning. People started to whisper about this in the late 70s. Nobody had any particular facts. But when Zeppelin drummer John Bonham died in September 1980, things started to pick up. Because they seem to have this extraordinary run of bad luck.
Mm-hmm. That's, I mean, a lot of what they did, I think they messed about with a lot of Aleister Crowley's things, didn't they? And sort of delved around here and there looking at, from what I heard, a short sort of route to success, almost sell your soul as it was.
Do you know what? I think it was actually Jimmy Page. It was mostly to blame for that, wasn't he?
I think it was, yeah. He was the one that had all the symbols on his guitar straps and everything, wasn't he? Had a say in a lot of the album covers.
Yeah, he did. He did have a lot of that stuff. Right. As you said, Aleister Crowley. So looking a little bit at that, most of the curse talk is centred around the little understood late 19th century magician Aleister Crowley. In the late 1800s, it existed a different kind of magician. These guys were serious, unlocking dimensions, communication with extraterrestrial intelligences, communication with the dead, thought teleportation, spirit photography, any kind of spooky stuff. That's the stuff that we're into at that time.
Definitely, yeah. Like I said, I think they used a lot of it. From what I've read of them, they saw it as a shortcut to success.
Yeah.
Sort of the promises of fame and fortune if they did this and they did that. And like I said, I think it was Jimmy Page mainly sort of took it all on board and took on the teachings of Crowley.
Oh yeah, he was really into it. So what happened is basically what has happened, when the rock and roll era kind of started, kind of in the 60s, kind of early 60s, going through, fans and bands were looking for something further. LSD and a rainbow of other drugs gave the insight, but that's the thing, that you had the drugs thing, didn't you? That was actually something further out there.
Yeah.
Bands started to get weird, fans got weirder, and as it went into the 70s, around this time, Jimmy Page began to have a large fixation in Aleister Crowley as he went into the 70s.
Definitely. It's right. I mean, the LSD and things like that they all took. I think that sort of went from there into more of the occult side with Aleister Crowley and things. It's again like the paranormal and rock music. It sort of went hand in hand in the 70s, I think.
Yeah, I think it did, but I mean, he really took it to another level. He opened a bookstore. Did you know that?
No.
He actually opened a bookstore. He financed the bookstore called the Equinox, and it was named after a Crowley journal. Wow. And in that bookstore, they had some seriously rare and pricey occult books.
Yeah. I can imagine that with a lot of what he was into. I know he got seriously into the magic side, didn't he, Jimmy Page? They were doing rituals and all sorts of stuff before they performed. And I think, in a way, when you look at it properly, over the years, getting involved in everything that they got involved in, you could again say that was the downfall of Led Zeppelin.
Do you know what? I would have to agree with that. I do. I actually think they pushed things further than they should have pushed it. Right, one of the first public mentions of Crowley came in February 1970 Melody Maker interview with Page, which noted a large amount of Crowley memorabilia in his house.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, tons of it.
It's on bordering obsession, really, probably.
Yeah, he was kind of obsessed by this, wasn't he? And then in February 1970, Plant was nearly killed in a single car crash, and that required him to do some of the performances in a wheelchair. Then 2 months later, Plant's Aston Martin fell on him while he was working under it, and it crushed all his ribs.
Yeah, it makes you wonder. It makes you wonder. So that's when he started performing the rituals and things like that, and getting into the magic. Really, it makes you wonder whether stuff like that did affect the bad luck that seemed to follow them around.
Well, when I looked into this a little bit more to try and get a little bit more information, Sean, really, it was around this time, supposedly, that's when Page asked the band to perform a magic ritual with him.
Yeah.
The ritual, as you said, would bring them, the band, power and basically everlasting life. That's what they were doing this ritual for. Hoping to get.
It didn't last enough everlasting life as a band, really, though, did it?
No, it didn't.
I mean, these bands, it's like they get involved with forces and powers. They don't know what they delve in with, really. It's nobody knows what you're delving with when you start messing with that sort of stuff. And when you're a band and all you're after is the fame, the fortune, everlasting life, and you follow the teachings of somebody like Crowley, you're opening up a huge Pandora's box that probably really shouldn't be even peeking inside.
Yeah. They actually went to the stage where they were putting symbolism on the album.
Yes.
Do you remember this?
Yeah, because they all had their own little symbol, didn't they? Apparently, each member of the band had their own symbol, but nobody really knew what they stood for.
Yeah.
And was it the Zofo or Zoso symbol that they had as well?
Yeah, they had that as well, didn't they?
Yeah, and again, was it Page said that he'll never tell anybody what it means, but it's something to do with magic and occult.
Yeah. From left to right, the symbols represented Page, Jones, Bonham, and Plant. So Page said in interviews that most of these, that he wasn't going to explain what they were.
Yeah.
Or tell what they were. But apparently he got kind of merry, let's say, one night with Plant. Well, I don't know if he was merry or Plant was, but they have this conversation. Robert Plant once said in a quietly guarded moment, Page revealed the full meaning of all four signs, including a lengthy discussion on what Zozo meant. Unfortunately for the rock world, Plant said, I was a bit wasted at the time and by the next morning I'd forgotten. I asked him the next day to tell me again and he said he couldn't and wouldn't.
That makes you wonder whether he made it up. Whether Zozo was something he made up or it was something that he'd learned from Crowley's teachings. It's just one of them things, probably only Plant, and they know. We don't know. We might never know.
Now, correct me, I'm pretty sure that Jimmy Page bought a property of Alistair Crowley's, didn't he?
I think he did, yeah. Yes.
I'm sure he did.
I'm sure he did.
It is in Loch Ness. There you go.
Yeah.
It's in Scotland.
It's Boleskine. Is it Boleskine, Loch Ness?
Boleskine, that's the one. Apparently the house had a history of suicides.
Yeah.
But apparently every time they went to this house, it was so creepy they didn't stay.
There weren't paranormal investigators then.
Well, do you know what? This is the thing, though. I mean, like you said, the paranormal and rock music tend to go hand in hand.
Yeah.
But do you think it's just the imagery it's conjuring up for people that it goes hand in hand?
I think it is. I think that started with Zeppelin and going on through the ages. Rock music's always had that sort of imagery, the satanic side, the goblins, the fantasy side, everything else.
Yeah.
I think that's what links it with the paranormal quite a bit.
Well, you've got Iron Maiden, you've got Eddie.
Yeah.
As well. That's quite a powerful image.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they've had that since they started, haven't they, Eddie? It's like, again, he's undead. Do you know what I mean? It's
yeah.
It all links in. It's definitely, it's all, everything ties in, the imagery, even the music to an extent. I think a lot of them, when you listen to a lot of rock bands, some of the music is quite spooky in a way.
Yeah.
It conjures up images of ghosts and demons and everything else.
Mm. Well, this is the thing. They don't do anything to quash it, do they?
No.
They tend to encourage it.
I think at the end of the day, it sells, don't it?
Yeah, it sells, isn't it?
That's it. It sells them millions of records a year. It sold Led Zeppelin millions of albums over the years that they were going. Even probably 90% of the people that bought Led Zeppelin albums didn't know anything about the links with Crowley, the symbolism that they used, the fact that they bought Crowley's house and everything else. They just liked it for the music and the imagery, even though they didn't know what it meant.
Well, going back to Led Zeppelin, Pamela de Barnes, she was the main squeeze, basically, of Jimmy during this whole era. But she managed to acquire quite a few things and quite a few artefacts, actually, including artefacts, manuscripts, and even the magical robes of Crowley.
Wow.
And he had all of these. And then he's dropped a large amount of money to get that mansion on Loch Ness.
Yeah.
So
I know when he bought the house, he said it was important to him because magic's very important to him.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
like, I mean, what was it? He said he's still seeking for the truth, and the search goes on.
yeah.
So, I think he's quite obsessed.
It was a little bit. I think it was April 1972. He done an interview and he said, "My house used to belong to Alistair Crowley. I knew that when I moved in. Magic is very important if people can go through it. I think Crowley's completely relevant to today. We're still seeking truth and the search goes on." So he intended to see this the whole way through.
Yeah, yeah.
But wasn't messing about with things he shouldn't be messing about with.
That's it. Did he realise what he was really doing, or was it just sort of he liked the imagery and the idea of it all? I suppose going through all that, it helped sales of the band, helped them sell records.
Yeah, that's very true. That is very true. A little while later, he got into. I mean, everybody that went into the place kept complaining about it. So basically, it kind of became. They decided it was uninhabitable and creepy.
Yeah, yeah.
So they didn't really go back quite a lot. But there was a Crowley disciple who was also a filmmaker called Kenneth Anger. And he plans to make a film, Lucifer Rising. Plans started to go astray. One of the lead actors was convicted of murder as a Manson family member.
Yeah.
Believe it or not. Anton Levy of the Church of Satan had a cameo role. But everything that could go wrong with this movie was going wrong. I wonder why.
Yeah, I said I wonder why.
This is the thing, isn't it? It kind of strikes they're doing things that they really shouldn't be doing.
It's like I say, like they had the obsession with Crowley, they bought his house, the obsession with the magic and the occult, but then when creepy things started happening,
Yeah.
they wouldn't go back. It's like, well, if that's what you're messing with, what do you expect to happen?
But this is where it gets good, Sean. Because everything's going wrong. Basically, it should have been falling apart. And in steps Jimmy Page, who offers to do the soundtrack.
Yeah.
So basically, there was this love-hate relationship between Anger and Page. They either got on or they hated each other. Basically, that's the way that went. But Anger moved into Boleskine and they shared the love of Crowley memorabilia. But Page eventually asked him to leave.
Yeah.
And then Page pulled out in 1975 from making the soundtrack. It's all this Crowley thing that brought them together again.
Yeah. It seems to be like a seed running through it all.
Yeah. Yeah. But basically, from them, it just went like basically from bad to worst.
So was it Anger that said that he privately cursed Page and Zeppelin?
Yes, he did. He did say he was cursing them. And by the looks of things, it might have worked. Because things did go drastically wrong. Privately, he said he cursed them with one monster of a spell, the huge psychic whammy he could conjure, replete of the worst Crowleyisms he could muster.
It goes to show you, though, doesn't it, that these things that they think they're just playing with are real. Yeah.
So, firstly, Robert Plant was in yet another horrific car crash. He doesn't have much luck with cars, does he? Plunging off a cliff in Greece in 1975 and nearly killed himself, his wife and his child, Karak. This forced the cancellation of the remainder of the physical graffiti tour and postponed the recording of Presence, which Plant was forced to record in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
The makeup tour was then played by a plethora of high negative events, a sudden case of laryngitis for Plant, after the band had shipped all their equipment and instruments to the States meant zero rehearsing was possible. Ticketless fans in Cincinnati rioted and stormed the gates because they couldn't get in.
Yeah.
In San Francisco, manager Pete Grant and John Bonham roughed up Bill Graham and nearly beat a Bill Graham employee to death. Bonham and Grant narrowly escaped serious charges and incarceration for that.
Wow. So that the curse that anger put on them seemed to have quite a drastic effect.
Yeah, just a bit. It seemed to have quite an effect on them.
Yeah.
But it kind of went on and on right up until 1980.
Wow. Crazy. Like I say, all through something that they were meddling in that they didn't really know much about.
Yeah.
Whether did they get into all that just for the symbolism and the scare factor sort of thing, the unknown factor that the fans might all jump on and go, oh, this is scary stuff, it's really good. And then it all backfired on them.
That is true. Basically, after the beating up incident, the next thing that happened was Carrack then got sick. The best physicians, money and private jets could buy all had the same answer. They've no idea what's wrong with them. He passed away in 1977, right after the Graham incident. And as the band arrived in New Orleans, they got the news about this. The tour was immediately cancelled. Plant quit the band and music in response to Page and Jones not showing up to his son's funeral.
Wow.
I can understand that, to be fair. They seemed pretty much cursed the whole week.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely.
But we both know a man that if we showed him all these symbols, he'd be able to tell us exactly what's what.
Yeah.
Andy Mercer would know all this. But let's be honest. But at that time, it must have been a big thing. But I think they were messing about with things they should really not have been messing about with.
Yeah, definitely. It's like I said, it affected them. Sort of like I said, almost backfired on them. Affected the music from then on. Once they'd got that deeply involved with it all and bought Crowley's house, it just from there on it just seemed to be nothing but bad luck.
Yeah, complete and utter bad luck.
Yeah,
it would seem. Page ended up nearly comatose on a daily basis because he had addictions. Bonham's alcoholism raged out of control, and he became increasingly violent and unpredictable. In 1978, Sandy Den, the goddess of Battle of Evermore, plunged drunkenly down a flight of stairs and broke her neck and died.
Wow.
That's harsh. And finally, in September 1980, John Bonham was sent home, blistering drunk from a band rehearsal. Handlers tucked him into bed. He only drank 40 or so shots, he would be fine. Quite incorrect, he died in his sleep. And with his death, so was the death of Zeppelin.
Yeah. I said there was only John Paul Jones, the only one not to supposedly sign the pact, is the only one that's never had anything happen to him.
Yeah. It seems so, doesn't it? So they've been messing about with things they really shouldn't have been messing about with.
Definitely, yeah.
So what stories do you know?
A lot of the ones I know about stuff that it goes to Iron Maiden when they were messing with, they wrote Number of the Beast.
Yeah.
And a lot of the things around Number of the Beast went wrong for them. A lot of equipment was packing up. I reckon the bills was coming to £666. And I know for quite a while, Bruce Dickinson,
That's not me.
No, that was me. Bruce Dickinson actually wouldn't sing the chorus.
Yeah.
He got the crowd to sing it because they believed that if he sang it, it would bring bad luck because of everything that had happened since they wrote it.
Wow, really?
Yeah, even though reading something that Steve Harris said, when he wrote the song, it wasn't a satanic song. It was about somebody witnessing a ritual.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of others. There's, if you had a band called Deicide,
Yeah.
They went through all sorts of breakups and bad luck. I can't remember all the details without looking it up, but I know the singer had branded himself on his forehead with an inverted cross.
Yeah.
All sorts of stuff went wrong for them for many years. I think they got quite a reasonably big band in the sphere of rock that they were doing, metal. Yeah. But once he went too far and started branding himself with these inverted crosses and things, it just went downhill from there. I think. Sorry.
I've met the members of Iron Maiden. They're not the kind of fanciful blokes. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're kind of solid men.
Yeah.
They're not fanciful at all, or seem like they'd be making things up.
No. Yeah, that's it. I think it goes to all these rock bands that a lot of rock bands use it as an imagery.
Yeah.
But I think when things go that little step further, they don't quite realise what gates they're opening.
Yeah.
Or what they're doing. Another example, again, I don't know the ins and outs, but like Marilyn Manson.
Yeah.
He seemed to reach a peak and then dabbled in a few things that he didn't realise, and his popularity just dropped.
Marilyn Manson always came across as quite powerful, strange.
Yes.
Strange. But to me, he always looked kind of fearful. I kind of looked at him and thought, oh God, no, what's he doing?
It was definitely a strange character, definitely.
But he seemed the kind of character who would get involved in, well, maybe the occult.
Yes, yeah. I mean, he called himself the Antichrist superstar, didn't he?
Yeah.
I think a lot of bands get involved in the occult, but then, like I said, they don't realise quite what they're getting involved in. But then you've got your other bands that portray an image of being involved in the occult.
Yeah.
And they steer well clear of it. It's all an image. Example, top of my head, Slayer.
Yeah, yeah.
Tom Araya, the singer, apparently is a devout Catholic.
Well, look at Dave Mustaine.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at him, you don't think there's anything kind of necessarily, but apparently he's really heavily into the occult.
I've recently read this. He used to be,
but I think this maybe came out of it a little bit. But he was really heavily into it when Megadeth were going on.
Yes, yeah. He used to be heavily into the occult. It got him into a lot of alcohol addiction and heroin addiction. But apparently now he's totally the opposite way, and he attends church regular and all sorts of stuff.
Well, wait, I tell you this. I've got a little story here for you. Not something quite as in your face as Megadeth or anything, but Ace Frehley from Kiss.
Yes.
Founding Kiss guitarist Ace Frehley recounts 2 different occasions when both his wife and daughter were violently pushed down the steps of their home, but by what he claims have been a ghost. I always had a sense that here was some type of connection with me and the other side.
Yeah. Kiss, the same one. Didn't there a rumour that Kiss actually stood for Kings in Satan's Service?
Yeah.
So whether that's true or not, I don't know. And I know Gene Simmons, he was heavily involved in the occult for a while.
Yeah.
But Ace Frehley, is that belief in ghosts there with him?
Well, that's the thing. Not long after Frehley purchased a large family home in Westchester, New York, he noticed things began to move around from place to place. Once he discovered his daughter at the foot of the staircase, Frehley attributed what presence he noticed in the home before must have been an evil spirit. His marriage fell apart, his daughter moved out, but once he moved back to the property with his new wife, she immediately picked up the eeriness without ever knowing about the spirit on the staircase. She too claims to have been pushed down those same steps.
Wow.
And a psychic told him that the house had previously been inhabited by an abusive mother who murdered her.
Somebody keeps trying to ring.
So basically, that's what he got told by a psychic, that someone had murdered the children in that house.
Wow. See, mate, again, did anything that he experienced in that house, did anything that influence his music in any way?
I think it probably did. I think a lot of the music, when you listen to some of the songs, there's a song by, do you remember Skid Row?
Yes, yeah.
Right, there's a song by them called Eileen.
Yeah.
And he says, Eileen, you're scaring me. But it's more or less about a ghost.
Ah, I didn't know that one.
Don't you?
No.
Yeah, it's more or less about a ghost.
Wow.
But he's never actually spoken about it at great length.
There you go. Say another link with the paranormal.
Well, this is the thing. I mean, by playing this kind of music, are they kind of linking into the paranormal in some way?
Yeah.
Is that a possibility?
I mean, that sort of brings you into the part where a lot of people do say that rock music it's got links with the occult, just actual music and the beat and the sounds. Links with.
Yeah.
I mean, personally, I think that's a bit rubbish, but.
Yeah, true. I will agree with you. Now, I do have another story.
Okay.
About Alice Cooper.
Yeah.
And Joe Perry. At the same time.
Oh, right.
Right, but I would like to point out that they were both newly sober at this time. They were sober as judges at this time.
Yeah.
But I mean, Alice Cooper conjures up all sorts of images of Halloween and horrors and ghosts, all sorts. But even Cooper admits he couldn't have made up something like this. What happened to him in the abandoned rural New York home where he and Aerosmith's Joe Perry had holed up to write some new songs together because they were friends. Cooper and Perry were continually plagued by things going missing, then randomly turning up in other parts of the house. Things came to a head one night when the band members sat down to eat dinner. From the basement came the sound of furniture being moved as if there was 20 people down there, and of course they all went down to investigate what was going on, didn't they? Found the basement completely empty.
Wow.
So pretty soon they vacated the house. But Alice Cooper, being Alice Cooper, couldn't leave it at that. So he was a bit intrigued by all this, and he asked his manager, who was also the owner of the house, Shep Gordon, what is wrong with your place? Gordon said his mother had once had a dinner party and the table moved a foot to the left on its own while everybody was sitting at it, basically. So they don't know. Alice said, what do you think it could be? And Gordon says he wasn't sure, but maybe it's something to do with the fact that the previous owner was the guy who wrote the Amityville Horror.
Wow, it makes you wonder, doesn't it?
It does make you wonder, doesn't it?
Yeah. I can imagine Alice Cooper quite enjoyed all that.
Do you know what? I think he would. He's pretty much really heavily into his paranormal stuff, isn't he?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I can see him enjoying that, probably going back and looking for more.
I do have to admit, I do actually follow Alice Cooper's page. And 9 times out of 10, he actually released an album last year, and his album was called Paranormal. But he's never hidden the fact he does heavily believe into the paranormal.
Yeah.
He actually embraces it quite a bit. He posts up quite a lot of stuff about paranormal things in places that you wouldn't know about, really.
Wow. So I never knew that about it. I knew his horror side and this, that, and the other, but I didn't know he was actually interested in the paranormal.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's heavily into the paranormal. But if you follow him, he does post quite a lot of places that you wouldn't know about. He would just randomly put up pictures and go, "What do you think about this? What do you think about this?" And that's his way of kind of doing it, I suppose.
I'd be interested to get him on an investigation one day.
Do you know what? That'd be awesome, wouldn't it?
It would. Definitely.
Get him on a radio show and he could talk all night. Be great.
Yeah.
There you go. There's a mission for you, Sean.
It is, yeah. Yeah, that's a challenge.
Right. The other one we've got, you were talking about Iron Maiden.
Yeah.
You were talking about the bills, about the stuff.
Yeah.
And I've got a story here from Stephen Harris. Steve Harris recalled how the producer was so affected by the strange goings on. There was kind of lights flipping on and off and strange noises and things going on while they were recording Number of the Beast. Yeah. But he was so affected by it, he refused to pay a garage bill because he'd been in a car wreck. He'd been in a car accident, and when he went to pay the bill, it totaled 666.
I can imagine that freaked him out, yeah.
So he completely freaked out. So he refused to pay it and says they had to charge him 667.
I don't blame him.
But Steve Harris says it was so funny. He said because it must have been the only time a garage has had somebody saying, "No, you need to ask me to pay more than what the bill actually is.
Charge me more, please."
Charge me more, please. But do you know what the Number of the Beast was inspired by?
I mean, I heard that not what it's inspired by, but it was actually about somebody who was watching a ritual and not actually somebody who was there.
Right. This is the thing with Steve Harris. He seems to have had this ongoing thing with premonitions and dreams and spirit contact.
Yeah.
Over years, but he's never really spoke about it, really. Except through music.
Going off Number of the Beast, but the Iron Maiden song Fear of the Dark, to me, that's an absolute paranormal song.
Yeah, it is. It is. I love that song.
Yeah, I'd love to be able to use that for a theme for some video clips and stuff.
The Number of the Beast was inspired by a mixture of a nightmare that Steve Harris had after watching Damien the Omen 2, and also reading Revelations in a poem by Robert Burns called Tam O'Shanter, which is a long poem about drunkards who witnesses a gathering of witches, demons and other creatures while coming home from the pub a bit drunk and getting chased by them because I was just drunk and hallucinating, but apparently this poem says different. Apparently, while they were recording the sessions for the Number of the Beast, the band reportedly asked the famous horror film actor Vincent Price to read the intro text to the title song. However, according to Maiden singer Bruce Dickinson, Price refused to do it for anything less than £25,000. Exactly. The band members then heard of someone who read ghost stories at Capital Radio and got him to do it instead. The man was Clayton, who had no interest in Maiden, but obliged when he was asked to put on a Vincent Price kind of voice. How do you do that, put on a Vincent Price voice?
Must have been an impersonator.
Clayton was a resident of Islington, which is in Greater London, England, for 40 years. It was a pioneer of black television and radio programming. He produced the Black Londoners radio programme for the BBC, the first black daily radio programme, believe it or not. But he's got this big, deep, booming voice. Yeah. So Clayton's deep, booming voice is forever etched in the minds of Iron Maiden fans, thanks to the way he spoke those famous words, ominous words that start the Number of the Beast. Woe to you, O earth and sea, for the devil sends the beast with wrath. Because he knows the time is short, let him who hath understanding. And literally, it's his voice.
Yeah, so I bet a lot of people think that's Vincent Price stuff.
Do you know what? You could be forgiven for thinking that, but I mean, he wanted a whole lot of money to do it.
£25,000 just to say a few lines, it can't be bad.
But do you know what, Sean? In fairness, don't you think they maybe look back now and think we should have paid them that £25,000? Because look how many copies of that album we sold.
Yeah. True. Probably a drop in the ocean of what they've made on that album.
I mean, it's a kind of iconic album for them.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it was their groundbreaking album. It was the first one with Bruce Dickinson on, and I think that's what exploded them worldwide.
But they kind of they've kind of got this thing going on with horror and spirit and, I mean, the seventh son of the seventh son.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
They've got something going on there, but apparently most of it's driven by Steve Harris.
Yeah, I think he writes the majority of it, doesn't he? So he's obviously got some interest in the paranormal and the occult for the lyrics that he does.
Yeah.
And again, same some of Iron Maiden's, even the music just conjures up, I can't say the occult, but the paranormal. That air of mystery and supernatural about some of the songs.
Yeah, that's very true. And I mean, when you're going to make albums called The Number of the Beast and The Seventh Son and The Seventh Son, of the Seventh Son, sorry, it's going to conjure up that kind of imagery, isn't it?
Definitely, yeah. It's I mean, like I say, it's stuff like that does bring that link with the paranormal. I mean, you can't imagine something like Justin Bieber having a link with the paranormal, whether he believes in ghosts or not. It just doesn't tie in right, does it? Like Iron Maiden, etc.
Oh, do you know it'd be awful, wouldn't it?
It would. I'd look for a new vocation. I'd sell all my camcorders.
Do you know what? To be fair, I stopped watching CSI because Justin Bieber was in it. He was in one episode of it. But I mean, they do have, like you say, it's the imagery and it's the things they're portraying. But there's got to be something that's making them portray it, not just the music. There's got to be something deeper than that.
Yeah, they must be having experiences.
Yeah, well, apparently Stephen Harris has quite a lot.
Yeah.
A good brain.
Yeah, I've heard actually that he is very much into the paranormal, Stephen Harris.
Yeah.
Be a good guest for Paraforce one year.
You should work on that. You should try that.
I will.
Do everything you can. Try and get that, honestly. I'd be the first one buying a ticket, I promise. But, right, we'll move on from Iron Maiden. Black Sabbath. Ozzy Osbourne, now there's an image.
Definitely, yeah.
That man just looks scary at times. But Black Sabbath were formed in Birmingham in 1968. Yeah. And they actually took the name from the Boris Karloff movie, Black Sabbath. Mm. And it's a name which has plagued them, the group, ever since, resulting in followers who believe they are in a league with the devil. And let's be completely honest, they have done absolutely nothing to try and quell that. They've done nothing to try and go, no, that's not true. But their music demanded suitable lyrics. And the bassist and lyricist Geezer Butler didn't need to look far for inspiration. Butler was pretty much obsessed with the occult at the time. He painted his apartment matte black and placed quite a few very crucifixes around his home, along with pictures of the devil. He wasn't asking for trouble at all, honestly. No. Ozzy Osbourne gave him a black occult book, which was written in Latin, and decorated with many pictures of Satan. Now, the story goes, Butler read the book and then placed it on a shelf before going to sleep. Butler claims he woke up to see a large figure at the bottom of his bed staring at him. The figure vanished and Butler ran to where he left the book on the shelf, but it was gone. Later, Osbourne would write the lyrics in the song Black Sabbath, "What is this which stands before me, figure in black pointing at me?" Now, is it just a really good story to go along with the song?
Same again, though, isn't it? People delving in what they don't actually realise what is there, what they're messing with.
Yeah.
I've heard stories. That's the reason Tony Iommi used to wear a lot of crosses around his neck, and he had crosses on his guitar thing, was to try and dispel what was coming from Geezer Butler.
Wow.
Tried to protect himself from the occult side that Geezer was into.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's an ongoing thing then.
It is. It's like you say, they didn't dispel the imagery that was put on them. But again, it sold the records.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
Ozzy's never lost that, has he?
In fairness, I don't think Ozzy could lose that.
No. Definitely not.
In fairness, looking at him now, I think, oh, bless him. But at that time, you must think it must have been pretty scary.
Oh, definitely, yeah. You suddenly wake up and there's some black figure stood at the end of your bed pointing at you. It's got to unnerve you some way, surely.
You've got to wonder, though, if Geezers went to Ozzy and said, you bought me that book and that happened. It's your fault.
Good man, don't blame him for it. But again, you see, Black Sabbath, all the way along, links with the paranormal, and a lot of the lyrics, a lot of the songs.
Yeah.
Was that through experiences that they had?
This is the thing, it'd be great to ask them all, but I don't think, if you asked Ozzy now, I don't think he'd remember. But you're not going to get to ask them, are you?
No, that's it.
That's the thing. You can work on the Steve Harris thing, though. You can do that. They're still active.
Yeah, true. I'll have to have a look into that, see how I can get hold of him.
There must be some way. There must be somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody who can put you in touch with them. So.
Oh, yeah, definitely. There's always a way.
Try and get them for Paraforce next year. But going on to something completely different, Elvis Presley. He was really strange, apparently.
I think never ever keen on him myself, but he was definitely. He seemed to go through a lot of different phases.
Apparently, well, he's dubbed to be the king of rock and roll, so I suppose we need to speak about him. But apparently, he had a lot of weird habits.
I can imagine that.
Apparently, he used to take. Well, he was married to Priscilla, wasn't he?
Yes. Yeah.
And he used to take her late at night to morgues.
Right.
To view bodies of people who had passed away.
Yeah, you could class that as a strange habit.
Apparently, really into that for some really strange reason.
So people think we're weird looking for ghosts.
Yeah, exactly. He went to morgues and everything.
That's definitely strange behaviour.
That's not just strange behaviour. That's you maybe need a bit of mental health help. Serious. Yeah. Can you imagine being his bride and being taken to a morgue to see people like passed out? It must have been horrendous.
It must have been horrible.
Yeah, well, apparently she said it was really peaceful.
Well, it would be. They're all dead.
Yeah. Wow. Oh. Why would you do that, do you think?
I don't know. I can't think why you'd want to do that. I mean, I wouldn't even want to do an investigation there, something like that.
Oh, no, you wouldn't.
No.
I wouldn't. I would run a mile. Sorry, but I would.
That's just weird, that is.
It is. It's a very strange behaviour, isn't it?
Yeah.
But is it because he had this little... There was this thing as well. He'd lost his twin. His twin had died.
Right.
And apparently he always felt like he was missing part of himself.
So was he looking for that part of himself?
That's what I'm wondering.
Strange. Yes.
It came across as larger than life to me, so I don't know what it was looking for.
Yeah, it is. Just goes to show you that these people that you see all the time, and like I say, they're larger than life, they're top of the world, but they're looking for something.
Yeah.
Weird.
It
That's
seems
weird.
it was. I know it's a really weird story, isn't it? But yeah, he took her along to this morgue. I have no idea why. But talking of Elvis, there is a building that is actually closely associated with him. It's a 1929 building, and Elvis played his first concert at it. And it's considered one of the birthplaces of rock and roll and was a long-time home of Louisiana hayride. Apparently, paranormal activity began in 1977 after Elvis died, conveniently. And a statue was erected in front of the building. And now a lot of people believe that his ghost is roaming the building.
Oh, that obsession with death, visiting morgues and things, makes you wonder.
But apparently there's a cemetery, like, really nearby, so it might not be his spirit they're picking up.
Yeah, it could. Suppose because he had association with the building, people automatically jump to the conclusion that it's him.
Yeah. But that's Louisiana Shreveport Auditorium, and that's where he done his first concert. But there is a graveyard right next to it. And I believe it's been investigated by quite a few well-known people. But they have gone in there. They've got this big, massive statue of Elvis outside of it, saying that the activity started after he passed away.
Right. Convenient.
That is very convenient, isn't it?
Yeah, a big statue out the front, sort of a bit of predetermination there.
Well, they have admitted there is activity occurs throughout the building. The spirits are both male and female.
Yeah.
The claims include shadow figures, a lady in white, people getting touched, a person getting knocked over in the basement, a woman's voice saying, "Make sure you take the picture of Elvis," in the lobby.
Ooh.
Which is kind of strange. And an elderly woman says she was saved from falling downstairs by an unseen force. But there's only apparently 2 photos that show apparitions in the theatre.
Well, you think if Elvis was haunting it, he'd be the one telling people to take the pictures.
Yeah, you would think so, wouldn't you?
Yeah. I'd have thought so. I'd have thought it'd be him saying, "Check my picture, the one of the hallway."
Yeah. He wasn't exactly shy, was he?
No, besides he was full of confidence in life, so why not in death?
I have no idea. But there seems to be links with Elvis and the paranormal as well. If you look at Graceland, I could understand with Graceland.
Yeah, because that was his home.
Yeah, I can understand people saying that they've seen his spirit there or whatever.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
I can't understand with this place.
No, it's like I say, with it being so close to a cemetery, then that sort of chucks a bit of doubt on it.
Yeah, I would say it's a cemetery.
Yeah, somewhere like Gracelands, then yeah, you can understand that.
Yeah, I mean, he lived and breathed in that house, didn't he? And
Yeah.
for a long, long time. And all his stuff is still in that house.
Yeah, so somehow something to draw his spirit to.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a place I've ever been, but all the rock memorabilia in that house is, I mean, they've got these jumpsuits and his guitars and jewellery and sunglasses and everything else.
Yeah.
So you
See
can imagine it being there.
Yeah, because I mean, people, like you say, haunted objects, people know the spirit attaches to objects. Surely if Elvis' spirit was anywhere, it'd be attaching to the objects that he was closest to.
Yeah, you would imagine so, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Well, if anybody lives in Louisiana, can you pop down to Shreveport Auditorium and let us know what you think?
See if you can get an EVP for us.
Get an EVP, that'd be awesome. But no, they are absolutely convinced that Elvis is in this building.
Could that be a good way of selling tickets to get people in the building?
That's what I was thinking.
Good marketing ploy, that one.
But there's so many stories regarding Elvis. I thought I've got to just pick one. So I had to pick that one. because it is where he played his first concert, and they're just totally convinced. But there are so many stories with that man.
I mean, it's such a famous person, known worldwide, that I don't think it's so much his ghost. People just want the fame of thinking his ghost's there.
Yeah.
What better way to sell tickets to a venue than say it's haunted by Elvis Presley?
I know, that's true.
Or is that being very cynical?
I think that's being very realistic, Sean.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds better. Realistic, not cynical.
It's being realistic because, I mean, this isn't really a case of a rock god being involved in the paranormal, more causing the paranormal.
Yeah.
Or allegedly causing the paranormal. But it'd be interesting to find out. I'm going to actually try and find out more about that.
Yeah, it's definitely something to look into. Why do you think it's Elvis's ghost that's there?
Well, apparently there's quite a few big names whose first gig basically was in this auditorium, so I need to look into that as well.
Could be having gigs in spirit while they're there.
Do you know what? I would be thrilled to know that was happening.
It'd be good, that would. Yeah.
It would be good, that. But to round it up, so what do you think? Rock music and the paranormal, very closely linked?
Definitely. I think there's the imagery, the lyrics, just the whole vibe, I think, of rock music just ties along perfectly with the paranormal.
Yeah.
Even if you take the occult side out of it, I still think that rock music and the paranormal just go hand in hand.
Yeah, you do have that imagery, don't you, with it all? But I think there's something a little bit deeper going on. I think some of them have more experiences than they're letting on.
Oh, definitely. For them to write a lot of the songs that they do.
Yeah.
They're having experiences along the line and they're telling people about them experiences throughout the lyrics.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many songs you can listen to, isn't there?
Yeah.
Really?
I mean, it's not just sort of the paranormal, the ghost side. I think the spiritual side as well. There's so many bands write sort of spiritual songs about what they're searching for and looking for, and they know there's something there. That definitely, I think there's so much of a link, and like I say, it's just hand in hand to me.
I think we should actually do a questionnaire and just put it out, fire it out amongst people and see what they think about this, because that'd be quite interesting to see what the views are on it. To me, I think there's a lot of rock people who are probably more sensitive and empathic than they're letting on.
Yeah, definitely.
I really do.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, I mean, to me, everybody I know personally that's into rock music have always been into it. It's not something that they just stumble across.
No.
It's as though it's part of them.
Yeah.
And the paranormal's the same. I think it's something you just stumble across. I think it's always part of you.
Do you know what? I would have to agree with that, Sean. I really do. I really do have to agree with that. I mean, I'm the only person in my household who likes rock music.
Yeah.
My kids like bits and pieces of rock music. Maybe like 3 songs. My other half likes reggae music. So it's great fun in here when somebody says put on music, because you never know what's going to go on.
That's it. I mean, I was brought up on it. My dad used to listen to Led Zeppelin, Black Sabbath, Rainbow, AC/DC, stuff like that. So I was brought up on it. But
so was I.
I can't stand other forms of music.
I have to. To put it politely, I have to. But no, I was brought up with the Beatles and Elvis and all of that, the Eagles. all that kind of stuff my dad was into. And I got into more rockier stuff as I got older. But that's the kind of stuff I was brought up on.
Yeah, that's it. It's, I think it's almost in your genes sometimes.
Yeah.
Might skip the odd generation, but I think rock music's just something that you listen to or you don't.
That is very true. But going to round this up because we've actually came to an hour into the show.
Look at that.
But next week, obviously, is going to be part 2, and I think we're going to be looking at, out of 2, we're going to be looking at John Lennon and Janis Joplin.
Yeah.
For 2 people. But Sean, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
It's been absolutely amazing.
Loved it.
I love rock music, so this has just made my day. So, but everybody, please remember you can follow Parasearch Radio on YouTube. You can find us on Twitter, obviously the World Wide Web. There is going to be some shows on Podbean as well, I believe. You can find shows on there, but you can always come back and listen to any of the shows that are broadcast on here. So I will say good night. Say good night, Sean.
Good night, everybody. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening. Don't forget to join us for more shows throughout the week. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, and the World Wide Web to keep up to date with all the shows right here on Parasearch Radio.